We're joined by ATI CEO Dave Orton. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate the time.
Obviously, ATI, graphics company, just been bought out by AMD, so pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting times in our industry right now. Yes, it is, but exciting too.
Just a bit of cash, $5 billion roughly.
5.4, yeah.
So did you just walk into your local branch and say, "Can I borrow some money, please?" Or?
Yeah. So at ATI, we've been looking at where is the market going. 2007, 8, 9, 10. How do we create a better footprint to be in the markets we want to be in, a better competitive position? And so one of those was consumer electronics, recognizing that just being a PC company wasn't going to be viable. We had to expand more aggressively in the consumer electronics. And we've been continuing to grow our handheld and our digital TV business. At the same time, our chipset business had grown very fast in the last 18 months. So we were out strategically looking at how to increase our funnel of acquisitions to grow ATI. About the same time, Hector met with me about 10 months ago, December of 2005. And AMD has a vision of where the industry is going as well. And it was amazing how alike we saw 2009 and 2010 for the PC industry. And so that really was the catalyst to get us to step back and say, would this be a viable merger? First, would it be good for ATI, the employees and the shareholders? Would we bring value to AMD? And they obviously thought so, because that's why they approached us. The cash stock component of that is really, to some sense, independent. We're public companies. And so for AMD, the cash is really driven by, they believe, and we believe, that their stock can go up. So if you use cash today, it actually would be cheaper than if you use stock, because we believe we can improve the stock price. The second is, if you go beyond a certain percentage of stock, you have to go to your shareholders. Well, we knew the ATI shareholders would support this. But for AMD, being a processor company, this actually now moves them into much more than microprocessors. Some shareholders would say you're going to lose focus, so we're going to vote against it. So you might have a concern if you went to the shareholders, would you get the support? AMD is so committed to this that they said, look, we're going to put 4.x billion of cash and then the rest in stock, and we'll acquire ATI. And so that's how we got to the stock cash portion.
What challenges did you face putting together a deal like that? It's not obviously an easy thing to do, and there's a lot of questions that you have to ask yourself as well as ask AMD in the acquisition.
It did, and that's why when we started talking in December, and we didn't announce until July 24th, was that a lot of due diligence, and it's not just due diligence of the business and the markets or understanding what's under the covers of both companies, but really a kind of soul searching of, do you believe in the vision? Soul searching of, can we combine? Because mergers have a history of not working, large mergers particularly. And we looked at why those didn't work and how do we combat that and really ensure that this can be a classic 1 + 1 = 3, not 1 + 1 = 1.5 kind of merger. And so that's what we focused on. The fact is, the R&D teams do not overlap at all, so that makes that very easy. You're not rationalizing roadmaps, you're not rationalizing customers, whose products are going to win in front of the customers. Very complementary. The sales force, there's some synergies there, but the reality is selling in the graphics market and selling in the CPU market is slightly different how you call on customers. And both companies were growing, so we can leverage that as well. So very synergistic in that sense.
So obviously ATI is an operation, AMD is an operation. What weaknesses did you actually see inside ATI, your own chip, that you thought, hang on a second, from this merger, AMD really can actually help us here and here?
So a range of those. I'll start with the R&D. So as we looked at growing ATI, we saw that there were some core technologies that we just needed to acquire. Needed to get access to somehow. At the same time, our R&D budgets, the overall growth was constrained to, I want to still be profitable. So we looked at how do we get more competitive. We look inside AMD, and they have some core technologies, whether it's memory technologies or full custom technologies or just silicon technologies that would be extremely valuable to us as we think about where we want to go. The second is we see the PC markets moving down market. The idea of being another x86 company didn't seem viable, and so how do you integrate graphics and processors? So yes, we could set a partnership up and integrate with AMD, but partnerships in that segment would be challenging. So we thought that gives us an opportunity to grow in a market by combining. The third is, as we grew so fast, we were shipping 40 million units a year to 240 million units a year. Our supply chain has challenged us on occasion, and we looked at basically the infrastructure that AMD had with SAP and what our vision of where we wanted to go, very complementary there as well. So things like that we saw.
So AMD's model is to make the processor and sell the processor as a unit. You guys have taken the model of, especially in Europe, of having a graphics chip and working with AIBs and having the discrete boards. Do you see that carrying on with the AIBs? Or?
Yes, we do. And particularly what we just talked about on the sales side is that how you take microprocessors to market and take graphics to market is different. Graphics is sold down on a board, basically. It's not socketed. Where microprocessors get married up with the motherboards very far down the chain. And so the selling model is different. The distribution models are different. You can put processors in a large distributor, and then they get pulled to whoever has the motherboards. Graphics, we can't socket the graphics chip and be cost effective. So we lock it down, and the graphics processor is so integral to the memory. That's down on the motherboard, on the graphics VGA card. So we do see that continuing. It's really important to us that our partners, that we maintain and actually grow our relationship with our partners.
We've also got the CPU now and the GPU, and let's talk about the GPU, as we've seen today with the stream computing, taking more load off the processor for specialist tasks. Do you see these two things converging as it comes along and actually having one chip that does your graphics and your processor?
Yeah, it's a great question, because we have talked about, from a rationale standpoint of why ATI and AMD came together, is we're very strong in notebook, we're strong in commercial, obviously strong in graphics. As we look at going forward, there's a segment of the market. You have the discrete market with gamer enthusiasts at the higher end. You have a market now, I'll call it the $350 to $700 PC client market, which is integrated. The opportunity to grow the PC market below $300 isn't going to happen with GPUs at below $300. It's even going to be hard to do it with integrated. And so if you want to go after that part of the market, you have to integrate for power reasons, for cost reasons. And so we think there is going to be an opportunity in a segment of the market to integrate. We don't see integration occurring at the high end of the market. We see it at the low end of the market.
So at the low end of the market, are you talking about integration of chipsets and processor and graphics, maybe all as a one-chip solution sort of thing?
Exactly, and maybe you have a second one for I/O, and that becomes your base. And then if you want to use that as a core, then you could scale from that, adding GPUs outside. But that would be kind of I'll call that ultra portable, or even there's this concept out there now called OLPC, one laptop per child. Very low-end computer to really target the primary education of the world with a computer. And Nicholas Negroponte from MIT has left MIT to drive this as an opportunity. That's going to require a $100 system. How can you build a $100 PC effectively? And so that's going to require integration.
So all this sounds great. When are the actual end users going to see some benefit from this?
So one benefits through the merger of the two companies. So I think they'll see that very soon. We've been working with AMD on providing a lower power notebook platform with our chipsets and their processors. We can bring that to market in 2007. So in 2007, it's going to be bringing the technologies closer together and addressing both the OEM customers and the channel more effectively. In 2008, we can begin to see integration. I think late 2008, 2009, you'll clearly see integration at the silicon level. And before that, you'll see integration at the platform level. More tightly coupled platforms, be able to address customer solutions more cost effectively.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.